Imagine building one of the most successful companies in history, then getting fired from your own company. Most people would never recover. But Steve Jobs wasn't most people. After being forced out of Apple, he watched the company he helped create slowly lose its identity. Sales declined, innovation disappeared, and many experts believed Apple was heading toward bankruptcy. By the mid-1990s, Apple was reportedly just months away from running out of cash. The world's most valuable company almost didn't survive. Then something unbelievable happened. The man Apple had fired returned, and within just a few years, he didn't simply save the company. He completely reinvented it. The colorful iMac, the revolutionary iPod, the iPhone, the App Store, products that didn't just dominate markets. They created entirely new ones. Today, Apple is worth trillions of dollars. Millions of people willingly wait in long lines just to buy its newest products. Customers proudly display its logo. Competitors copy its ideas. Investors admire its business model. But here's the real question. How did Apple convince people to pay premium prices for products that often weren't the cheapest or the first? Was it technology, marketing, design, or was Apple selling something much bigger than products? Today, we're uncovering the business strategy behind Apple, a story of obsession, innovation, brand power, and one of the greatest business comebacks ever. This is the untold strategy of Apple. In 1976, inside a modest California garage, two young men believed personal computers could change the world. Steve Jobs, the visionary, and Steve Wozniak, the engineering genius. At that time, computers weren't designed for ordinary people. They were expensive, complicated, and mostly used by businesses, universities, and hobbyists. Jobs saw something different. He believed one day, every home would have a computer. It sounded impossible, but together, they built the Apple I. Unlike most machines of its time, it came fully assembled, a small improvement that made a huge difference. It wasn't just another computer. It was easier to use and easier to understand. Soon, Apple received its first major order. It wasn't enough to make them rich, but it proved something important. People wanted technology that felt simple. That idea would become Apple's greatest strength for decades. Just 1 year later, Apple introduced the Apple II. It became one of the first highly successful personal computers. Schools adopted it. Businesses bought it. Families welcomed it into their homes. Revenue exploded. Investors rushed in. Apple grew at an astonishing speed. In 1980, the company went public. It became one of the biggest IPOs of its time. Almost overnight, Steve Jobs became one of the youngest millionaires in America. From the outside, everything looked perfect. But inside the company, problems were beginning to grow. Success brought pressure. Expectations increased. Competition intensified. And Steve Jobs demanded perfection. His leadership inspired some employees, but frustrated others. Conflict became unavoidable. In 1984, Apple launched a product that would redefine computing, the Macintosh. Unlike most computers, it featured a graphical user interface, windows, icons, a mouse, concepts that now feel ordinary. But back then, they felt revolutionary. Apple didn't simply sell a computer. It sold an experience. Its legendary Super Bowl advertisement introduced the Macintosh as more than technology. It represented freedom, creativity, and challenging the status quo. The campaign became one of the most famous advertisements ever created. But despite its innovation, the Macintosh struggled in the beginning. It was expensive, software was limited, competitors quickly caught up, and Apple's internal tensions continued growing. Behind Apple's success, a power struggle was unfolding. Steve Jobs wanted faster innovation. The board wanted stability. Executives disagreed on the company's direction. The conflict became impossible to ignore. Then, in 1985, the unimaginable happened. Steve Jobs left Apple after losing a leadership battle. The company he had helped build moved forward without him. Many believed Apple had made the right decision. After all, it still had a famous brand, talented engineers, millions of customers. Why would it need Steve Jobs? At first, nothing dramatic happened. Apple continued selling computers. Revenue continued flowing, but something slowly disappeared. The company's ability to surprise the world. Innovation became slower. Its product lineup grew confusing. Competitors, especially Microsoft, expanded rapidly. Windows-powered PCs became more affordable, more accessible, and increasingly dominant. Meanwhile, Apple struggled to define its future. By the mid-1990s, the company faced declining sales, mounting losses, and an uncertain path forward. Few people realized it then, but Apple was approaching one of the most dangerous moments in its history, and the only person who might be able to save it was the man it had once pushed away. By 1997, Apple was in serious trouble. The company had lost billions. Its product lineup was confusing. Market share was shrinking. Many analysts believed Apple wouldn't survive much longer. Then, in one of the greatest business comebacks in history, Steve Jobs returned, not as a founder seeking revenge, but as a leader with one mission: save Apple. His first move shocked everyone. Instead of creating more products, he eliminated them. Dozens of projects were canceled. Entire product lines disappeared. Jobs believed that focus, not size, creates great companies. He simplified Apple's strategy into just a few core products. One clear roadmap, one clear vision. It was a risky decision, but it gave Apple something it had lost: direction. In 1998, Apple introduced the iMac. It wasn't the fastest computer. It wasn't the cheapest, but it looked different. Bright colors, a simple setup, a friendly design. People didn't buy the iMac because of technical specifications. They bought it because it felt exciting. Steve Jobs understood something many companies ignored. Customers don't always fall in love with technology. They fall in love with experiences. That philosophy became Apple's greatest competitive advantage. Every product had to feel simple, beautiful, and effortless to use. Apple wasn't competing on price. It was competing on emotion. Then came Apple's smartest business strategy. Instead of selling individual products, Apple built an ecosystem. In 2001, the company launched the iPod. Thousands of songs in your pocket. But the iPod wasn't the real innovation. The real innovation was iTunes. Hardware, software, content, working perfectly together. Customers who bought one Apple product found it easier to buy another, then another, and another. The more products they owned, the harder it became to leave the Apple ecosystem. This wasn't just customer satisfaction. It was customer loyalty by design. Then came 2007. Steve Jobs walked onto a stage, holding a small black device. He announced 3 products: a phone, an iPod, and an internet communicator. Then he smiled. They're not 3 separate devices. They're one device. It was the iPhone. The smartphone industry changed forever. Apple didn't invent the smartphone, but it reinvented how people expected a smartphone to work. A touchscreen, no physical keyboard, an intuitive interface, a full web browser. 1 year later, the App Store launched, and suddenly, millions of developers could build software for the iPhone. The device became more valuable every year, not because of the hardware alone, but because of the ecosystem surrounding it. Apple had transformed a product into a platform. One of Apple's biggest mysteries is this: why do millions willingly pay premium prices? The answer isn't simply quality. It's perception, consistency, trust. Apple rarely competes to be the cheapest. Instead, it positions itself as premium. Its stores feel luxurious. Its packaging feels intentional. Its advertisements focus on lifestyle, not technical specifications. Even after the purchase, the experience continues through software updates, customer support, and seamless integration across devices. Apple sells more than technology. It sells confidence, and customers are willing to pay for it. Today, Apple is one of the most valuable companies in the world. Its products are used by billions of people. Its services generate recurring revenue. Its ecosystem keeps customers coming back, and its brand is recognized almost everywhere on Earth. Yet Apple's greatest achievement isn't the iPhone, or the Mac, or even the App Store. It's the strategy behind them. Focus, simplicity, premium positioning, long-term thinking, and an obsession with customer experience. Those principles transformed a struggling computer company into a global business empire. Apple's story proves a simple truth. Great companies don't try to be everything for everyone. They choose what matters most and execute it exceptionally well. Innovation isn't just about inventing something new. It's about making people's lives easier. Brands don't become iconic because they sell products. They become iconic because they create trust. Steve Jobs once lost the company he built, but when he returned, he didn't just save Apple. He changed the future of technology. And perhaps that's the greatest business lesson of all. Sometimes, the most powerful strategy isn't doing more. It's having the courage to do less, but do it better than anyone else.
From a small California garage to one of the most influential companies in history, Apple's journey wasn't built on luck. It was built on vision, relentless focus, and the belief that technology should serve people, not the other way around. This was the untold strategy of Apple, and this is Empire Exposed Files. If you enjoyed this documentary, subscribe to Empire Exposed Files for more untold stories behind the world's biggest companies, billion-dollar business strategies, and the decisions that changed history. Because behind every global empire, there's a strategy waiting to be exposed.